Hey everyone, welcome to Insights with Alicia. I am back from break. Woohoo! And we are now in season 3 of Insights with Alicia. For those of you who didn't know, I just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of this amazing podcast video event that I do every week. Can you believe it's been a year already? Thank you to all of the beings who have watched, listened, read, and supported me along the way. We have over 2,000 views on YouTube and over 250 downloads on the podcast platforms. That is amazing. I never ever thought a year ago when I started this, as terrified as I was, that it would turn into something so amazing like this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So what is Insights with Alicia about? Every week we gather to learn and connect. I often say things people always want to know more about. They like the insight from the scientific psychic. There are so many things that I have experienced that have transformed my life, and I love being able to share these insights to help everyone, not just my clients. I talk about relationships, our behavior, so many life skills that will literally change your life, and there are tools and ideas to support all those changes that we want to make. And let's not forget about the animals. I talk about them too. I'm Alicia Sweezer, owner of Who Knew Healing. For those of you who don't know me, I am an intuitive life coach, animal consultant and communicator, psychic medium, and intuitive mentor, and I provide healing and growth opportunities for people and animals. One reason I love doing Insights with Alicia is because it gives you a place to start creating something new in your life for free. I get to shine the light on things and show a different perspective for how you can create change for yourself. And then you get to choose to continue to grow down your path when you choose to continue to work with me individually to transform at a deeper level and a quicker pace. So, in case you haven't noticed, there has been a change here at Insights with Alicia. I am no longer recording Insights live on Monday nights. What? I know. This was not a decision that I came to lightly, as you will see in this week's episode, and it is what my intuition said to do. The awesome part is that this will provide space to create something else amazing. New episodes will still be available on Mondays. The episodes will be available on my YouTube channel under Alicia Sweezer and on all the podcast platforms as Insights with Alicia. As well as for my readers out there, it will always be available as a blog post on Wednesdays on my website, Who Knew Healing. That's new with a K. So the only part is not going to be live, but there's still everywhere else that you can get these amazing insights and connect with me. So let's get started this week. Okay. So today we're going to talk about following our intuition, even when we don't know where it's going to lead us. It can be very scary sometimes. And for a few months now, I have been feeling a nudge that this podcast was ready for a change. What do those nudges look like? It started to feel heavy. It started to feel like a job. Remember, this is all created for free, and each episode takes 10 to 15 hours of my free time every week. When something you are doing for free starts to feel like an obligation, it's definitely something to look at. And the truth is that this applies to everything. This is a concept you've all heard me talk about. Is it freely given or is it a trade? Both are fine. It is when we are trading, but we think we're freely giving, that can get us into trouble sometimes. And here's the thing. People always think these intuitive nudges are comfortable or light and sparkly. It's not true. Intuitive nudges come in all shapes and sizes. As I said, this started to feel heavy, and that was my message to pay attention and start asking questions. The podcast started to feel like it wanted to be different. And I thought if I could get ahead, meaning instead of writing the week of for the episode, to get a couple of episodes written ahead of time, that would change what was needed, right? Like that would be enough to satisfy my intuition, to tell the, podcast, like, yes, we've done something different. Here's the caveat with that is all of these episodes are divinely inspired. I do not know what I am going to talk about until the idea is delivered. That could be the Monday before, it could be the Saturday before that Monday. Like I could have 5 days of notice. I could have 2 days of notice. I can sit down to write something, but if it isn't time, nothing comes out. Believe me, it makes my control freak and planner part very, very unhappy. And I've learned to trust. And then I get to practice releasing, right? And trusting, like I just said, it will all work out as it is meant to. And for a little bit there, I did get ahead. If you remember this series of episodes that I did on the intuitive clairs, highly recommend them. I wrote all those at the same time. That was a lot of time on the computer and I got a little burnt out. So it was nice to have the space those episodes provided. And then the same heavy feelings returned. I was like, dang it, that wasn't it. So this is not how I want it to be. In case it isn't clear, this is what a resistance tantrum looks like. Anyone else have those? It's just me? Okay. What started to happen was I started to feel constricted. And this was interesting and piqued my scientific side because the constricted feeling was new. So I dove in. And what was underneath that constricted feeling was all of the thoughts and judgments I was having. Shocking, I know. This is how I know what I teach my clients works, because I do these transformation processes myself. So some of those thoughts and judgments were, you can't change the way you do this. Everyone is used to the way that you do it now. What are people going to think when you're not available to them live? You are going to disappoint people. Ugh, you feel how heavy that is? You're going to lose listeners, viewers, readers, etc. You're not being consistent or in integrity. That was tough one because you guys know how important integrity is to me. Do you feel how heavy all of that was? And it's such good stuff. So much good stuff for me to look at in there about what I was believing about myself, about my business, projecting my thoughts onto others, and once again, seeing the unnecessary pressure I put on myself. Anyone else do that? Anyone else put pressure on themselves and have really high standards and squish yourself with all of the pressure? It really is the worst. And here's the thing. There are many coaches, psychics, facilitators, healers, etc., that would never let you see this side of themselves. And that is perfectly okay. That is just not me. Now, does that mean it's comfortable to let everyone know what goes on behind the scenes? Nope. And when I'm inspired to share my experiences, I know it's in divine alignment because I know that it's going to resonate with someone, because there's this illusion in this world, right? That when someone creates something or when they're doing it for a business or for a living or just whatever, that it's all roses and unicorns and rainbows. And it's not. We love doing it and it has that energy of it. And there's a lot of work. And even work's not the right word that I am looking for right now. There's a lot of effort that goes into creating something. And when you have those type of efforts, like I was saying, it's been a year that I've been doing Insights with Alicia. And when I started, for those of you that have been with me from the beginning, right, I was still needing to figure out some of the tech because I taught myself all of this and trying to figure out how to not have the glare in my glasses and how to, because I'm usually streaming to Facebook at the same time and you're on live and having your notes and, it requires a lot of effort and it's good stuff, right? Because it's inspired action. And so it fills you up, and creating takes effort. That's just the truth of what it is. It doesn't mean that it's hard, right? Because if we're doing something and it's over and over and over again, it's hard, then what we're doing might not be a match. It's just that there's effort involved. And that effort brings up all of these thoughts and these judgments and emotions every step of the way. And so I have heard from many people who want to start things in their life and they see me doing this and they're like, oh my gosh, you inspired me. It didn't have to be absolutely perfect. And I was like, nope, it doesn't. I do my best to give up perfect. And the most important thing is just to start. So, like I said, it's not comfortable to let y'all in on that part, but I know it's going to help someone. And this is all very human stuff. And you guys know how much I love that. Just kidding. Okay. And honestly, it's what's required for our time here on this planet. One of the reasons we signed up to come here, still claiming I was drinking when I signed my contracts. LOL. I'm just kidding. I signed up for what? Okay. So what was I saying before I was cracking myself? One of the reasons we signed up to come here was to have the human experience. When we are in spirit or being form only, we don't have a body. We don't get to experience this planet in the same way. Okay. So what did I do with all of those thoughts and judgments? I transformed them. For the thoughts on integrity and changing how I do things, I remembered the truth. And that is that continuing to do something that isn't a match, something that is heavy, and something that goes against my intuition, that is actually being out of integrity. When I am doing what I intuitively love to do, the self-integrity is always there. For the thoughts on disappointing people, I remembered that other people's experiences, thoughts about me, etc., are not my responsibility, and I let it go. For the thoughts about I'm going to lose people, I remembered that most of the time that is part of change, unless people are willing to grow forward also. And if people choose to leave, then I get to honor that. And everyone has their own path. And the truth is that when people do leave, it creates space for new people to come in. Okay, so now I'm going to share a story from years ago that shows how it really looks in the beginning of when we start down a road to now when a similar situation arises and how fast we can shift it. So, like I said, the goal here isn't to never have negative feelings, judgments about ourselves, etc., because that would be chasing perfection. And we all know where that gets us. It's to recognize when we have them and shift them. And then, yes, over time, we will have less of this happening. We will have strengthened our tools for when it does show up. So the story is about when I first started doing classes years and years and years ago. I was actually doing a class on receiving, which was just so amazing. I mean, who does not need help, support in receiving? It's one of the biggest challenges of our human existence. And at some point, I will probably do that again. And the truth is it was more than a class. It was actually like a workshop because it was 3 or 4 hours long. And when I was creating it, I was doing it the old school way. Date myself here. The way I was taught in college, right? This looked like making a PowerPoint, right? That's how we make presentations. That's how classes used to be done. And I kept getting sick, like horribly nauseous and feeling really crabby, which crabby is not, a normal state for me. And I didn't understand it at the time. Because like I said, this is how you do a class. You make a PowerPoint. This is what we do. Not so much. It was a really cool process for me to be able to lean into who I was becoming and the ability to do it differently. If you hear nothing else in this episode, I hope that you get the awareness that you get to do it differently than you did it in the past, differently than anybody else. You get to do it your way, whatever it is that you want to create. And if you are following your intuition and your inspired action, it is going to be amazing. Okay. So as I said, right, becoming the new version of me and the ability to do it differently, which, like I said, is not always comfortable or accepted in our society. And I kept working through it. The creating changed and changed and changed. And there was, like I said, those resistant tantrums in there like, no, I want to be able to do a PowerPoint. This is how you do it. And then I would get sick. And then I would remember to ask a question. And I would be like, oh, okay, what is it that we're doing here? Okay, workshop. What do you want to look like? How long do you want to be? What information do we want to create together? Right? Because whatever life form we're creating, we want to ask them as well. Because the truth was, even though I was going to be doing a lot of teaching, I really was going to be doing a lot of facilitating in this class. It wasn't just a massive amount of information that people were going to get. It was about facilitating the change that information created and walking people through their transformation. It was concepts and ideas that were going to bring up so many things for people. It's a class about receiving. Of course, it's going to bring stuff up. So the final result was some PowerPoint slides, because honestly, you just can't deliver that much information verbally, especially if it's going to be useful for people going forward in the future, right? And wanting to use that information. So there were some slides, and then the rest was facilitating and helping people process through some things, clearing some things, pulling apart and looking at it differently, which is, as you guys know, what I absolutely love to do. So in the beginning, the pivot point of changing a creation and doing it differently, like I said, is not always comfortable. It can be messy and it can be slow. So it was so interesting that this month I was finding myself in a similar place, albeit at a much smaller level of, oh, what if I want to do it differently? The other interesting thing that happened during this break is the universe provided me with, AKA forced me, LOL, into taking some time off from everything. And I mean everything. Not comfortable for a doer. Not, it's just not. It was not. One day I spent 2 hours on the computer trying to work, and then I got sick. I got nauseous. I am nothing if not determined, and sometimes a louder message is required for me to receive it. The getting sick part when I am trying to go against what my intuition is telling me. Does that happen to anyone else out there? Anyone else need the 2x4 sometimes? Um, so to say taking time off from my business is uncomfortable is an understatement, because not only is it what I do for a living, but it's also my passion, right? I love being able to help animals, and I love being able to help humans on this planet. And so to take time off from that was not comfortable at all. And yet it was absolutely required. And if you haven't noticed, there have been many changes going on energetically on our planet. And the truth is I am very sensitive to those changes. The sensitivity is one of my most precious gifts, and sometimes it needs to be protected, even from myself. If you have been or experiencing the same thing, I invite you to tune in and discover what is required for you in those moments. Okay, everyone, that is all for this episode of Insights with Alicia. I am so thrilled to be back. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope hearing my growth experience has been beneficial to you, and I look forward to connecting with you next week, as well as what else gets created. Ooh, one thing I did want to mention is I launched a celebration challenge for the month of June. So we're 4 days, 5 days in. I don't know what day it is. So every day we're going to celebrate ourselves. What? That's right. Okay. So what are we going to celebrate? Every freaking thing, no matter how big, quote unquote, or how small, quote unquote. You've all heard me talk about how my measuring sticks are skewed, that unless something causes pain or is a really big deal, it doesn't register for me. Now, trust me, I'm a lot better than I used to be at this, and this was the next inspired step to heal this. And I know I'm not alone in this. I hear the same challenges from my clients all the time. Another part of this is to be seen by others celebrating ourselves. For some of you, that may make you want to hide even more. Don't do it. Grab my hand. Let's do this. Let's break societal patterns. Let's break familiar patterns. Let's break your thought patterns so that there's room to create more of what is in alignment for you. So this is going to be about using your voice and receiving the celebration from others. And it only works if you choose it. How it works is every day I will be posting on Who Knew Healing's Facebook and Instagram pages what I am celebrating. And then you will share what you are celebrating in the comments, and I get to celebrate with you. Like I said, we are celebrating everything. I want to hear it all. This is where we get to shift our mindset about what deserves to be celebrated, quote unquote. If you got a promotion, great. I want to hear about it. If you caught a negative thought, great. I want to hear about it. If even getting out of bed is important to you, then I want to celebrate that with you. If you talk to the person you have a crush on, I definitely want to hear about that. And of course, anything you are celebrating with your animal, join me. It will have a massive transformation in your life. Like I said, we're 5 days in. And already for me, it's brought up so many things for me to look at and release, and I get to celebrate with you all. So we get to be in connection. All right, everyone, have a fabulous week. And if this was a contribution to you, then please subscribe, like, share, do all the things that gets the info to more people that it can help. And for my readers, like I said, this will be posted on Wednesday as the blog on the website, Who Knew Healing, new with a K. And thank you to everyone who has donated to my cosmic tip jar. It allows me to create more free things that I then get to give to people. And if anyone feels led to do so, the links are in the description. There's multiple options. Thank you so much. Everyone have a fabulous, fabulous week, and I will see you next week.